Okay, that one. Sorry about that. Oh, okay. It happens. I need to get my microphone working all the time. That is all just because I have a good mic and a built in mic. And it doesn't seem to work right at the time. Well, it just doesn't swap when I want it to. So, as I was saying, good morning, everybody. I am in the process of trying to get my clue sorted out real quick. I feel like something's missing, but it's probably not. Uh, so yeah, it's been an interesting week for those of you who saw my vlog. You know, my sleep number bed has had a little bit of an issue this week. The air chamber decided that it no longer wanted to stay inflated, which meant I couldn't adjust to my sleep number setting, which is not a great thing. And when I talked to I went to the store and I talked to the folks in the store, and she goes, you need to call support and you need to be with your bed when you call support because they may ask you some questions about your stuff. And I'm like, I really don't want to call support, but okay, fine, I will. So Wednesday morning, I called support and they're like, you did everything that we asked you to when you're troubleshooting? I was like, yeah, I like to make your life easier. So they shipped me out a new air chamber, and it arrived yesterday. And when I got it, I was like, okay, I need to get this installed. So I managed to somehow get it installed yesterday. Was not very difficult, but it was a little time consuming. Let me make sure I got my letters right here as I'm doing this. And then I was exhausted all week and because of the lack of sleep. And I managed to sleep really hard last night. It was a good sleep. And when I got up this morning, I was like, I feel kind of sore from sleeping so hard, but it was good. I needed it. I'm not going to complain, and I am just happy that my bed is back together. Even though, I told most of that story with no sound. Oh, so who does we have in the chat? My friend Steven says, hi, Russ, I'm number one. Yes, Steven, and remember, you have to be odd to be number one. Jeannie East says she's number two. Candace says, hey, Russ. And then that's when Steven said, we can't hear you. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Candace, for letting me know that I am an idiot. It's all my fault because, I didn't check. In fact, I didn't get the software running until 11 o'clock because I was just running behind on everything. But I'm here. I'm settled. Good morning, Karen. Steven said it was good now, so that's good. Thank you. Sue says, good morning, Russ, Steven, and fellow quilters. And Steven is saying, hi, bunch to a whole, or hi. Steven is saying hi to a whole bunch of folks and everyone else. So I think I got all my pieces for Clue 8 put together. Or not put together, separated out. So today I am planning on working on Clues 8 and 9. It's going to be the last of the units of clues, and then there's finishing. And I have started some of the finishing, and I will show you that a little bit later. But let's see if I can get moved over to here and start sewing. It was a rough week having to sleep in a uncomfortable bed. I was just not thrilled with it. I know it has to happen sometimes. I don't blame anybody because things like that happen. But I had weird dreams this week. I had 2 nights where I dreamt I was exhausted, which I found a little odd, but I was like, okay. I mean, I apparently am very exhausted if I'm dreaming I'm exhausted. And then Thursday night, I had a really strange dream. I dreamt my sister and I somehow, for some reason, and I have no idea why, were at a Dukes of Hazzard reunion. Now, I hadn't thought anything Dukes of Hazzard in years, and why I would be dreaming that we're going to a reunion when we all knew that Uncle Jesse had passed away several years ago. In fact, I think Boss Hogg has passed away. I want to say Roscoe P. Coltrane has passed away, but I was just really confused why, like I said, we wanted to go to a Dukes of Hazzard reunion. And in my dream, I have no idea why I know this in my dream state, because I could not have told you before Thursday this in my waking state, that Daisy Duke was played by... Oh, gee, now I've already forgotten her name again. I knew it in my dream, and I said it last night. It's like Catherine is a 4-letter last name, and now I got to figure out again because I can't tell you what it is in my in my waking mind, but I knew it in my sleeping. Catherine Bach, that's what it is. I was like, I know it's a 4-letter word, and then like a K. And I knew this in my dream state. Again, I don't know why I know this in my dream state. And then the weird part is yesterday while I was watching YouTube, like I hadn't even Googled anything, but it started suggesting a whole bunch of Dukes of Hazzard stuff. So is Google listening to me dream? I found that kind of funny. I don't know what's stranger, the fact that I knew that Catherine Bach was who played Daisy Duke in my dream, or whether it was, that Google and YouTube started suggesting to me Dukes of Hazzard stuff when I didn't even search for anything. The mysteries of the universe. But yeah, yesterday it was, I worked from home. About lunchtime, I got my air chamber replaced. It was easy. I did it a different way than the instructions said. And that was only because I kind of figured I can do it that way. And I figure if I can figure out how to find the hole in the air chamber, I should be able to patch it so that if I do have another issue in the future, I can just put in the patched air chamber instead of having to spend more money for a new air chamber. That's my hope. We will see if that ends up happening, but after work, I went to the chiropractor And oh, that felt like a good adjustment after being tight from sleeping wrong for almost a week. And then I picked up Riley from daycare, came home, ate dinner, and said, I'm going to bed at like 8:30. So it was still daylight when I took Riley out for her night-night potty. And I went upstairs, got settled in, brushed my teeth, laid down in bed, and then my phone rang. It was my friend David asking what, or whether or not our local quilt shop, or no, first he asked if I was going to our local quilt shop tomorrow. And I was like, I hadn't planned on it, meaning today. I was like, I haven't planned on it, but if you need something, let me know. And he goes, you know those little baby quilts with the numbers on it that is a panel and stuff? And like the shop that I go to has them every now and then. I was like, yeah. He wanted one. And I was like, well, why don't you just order one online, because it's going to get there faster. But we had no idea what it was called. So I did some research, found out that it was called a baby milestone quilt panel. And he found a few that he's interested in, so he's going to end up probably ordering online. Because I'm like, I really don't want to ship, because that ends up moving my schedule around. Good morning, Barb, and good morning, Tasha Quilts. Hope y'all have a great Saturday. I know folks have asked in the past what this colorway is called for the puzzle mystery quilt. And I had said many times, I have no idea, because I don't know where the color card is. Found the color card. It's called Purple Mist. So it's like I'm at the end of the project, and I can now tell you what the color is called. This is, what was it, last year's puzzle mystery quilt from Cotton Cuts. So, yeah, I'm only a few months behind. But if all goes to plan, I should have the quilt tops done tomorrow. Because I've had, these are the last units that are to be sewn. And then last weekend I sewed together the center medallions for both of them. And then Wednesday I joined my friend Steven on his sew day. And it was just for lunch, and I managed to get a bit of the borders done because I had all of those clues completed. So I basically put together everything I could with clues 1 through 7. And that leaves 8 and 9 for clues, and I've gotten through them. So I am hosting a sewing shenanigans tomorrow. The link is in the description below here. It's also in Wednesday's vlog. If you're on my mailing list, you got a link to it this past Sunday. So you're first to know. And I will be finishing it up tomorrow. Tasha says she is in the middle of her first one and she's keeping up mostly so far. I managed to keep up with my first one. I was very excited, and when the clue arrived in the mailbox, because I was doing the we will ship you the clue every month phase. So when the clue arrived, I was excited. I came in here and I just put it together. It took, because I didn't know what I was doing back then, I think it took me 45 minutes a clue, which is not a bad amount of time for a clue. And I did the small, but when I started doing the pay for everything up front, which is a lot more convenient because you're not waiting on a clue, I stopped keeping up because I was like, well, I don't have time when I get the clue on a Friday morning. And then it's not in my, let's do this immediately mindset. So if I end up doing another one of these, I got to make sure that I have something properly set in my mindsets so I don't fall behind again. Okay, those go that way, these go this way. No, they don't. They go this way and this way. Those go there. Those go with you. And these go with each other. Right? And then that goes with that. Okay. Yeah, Tasha gets it. She says she did the prepay. Oh, wait. Y'all can see that right here. I'm still going to end up reading the chat. So, yeah, Tasha did the prepay, and that's what happened this month. Emailed the clue, and just haven't done it yet. That is why I really like doing anything that's I'm just going to say a serial item. So like a block of the month, or in this case, the Cotton Cuts Clues. I like doing it with friends because then you kind of stay on top of it because your friends will just be like, well, why aren't you done yet? And then you have to kind of explain to yourself and to them why you decided to fall behind. Now, life does happen. I know people are behind on some of the stuff I'm working on because life happened. But when it comes to a block of the month, you end up falling behind because you get I just get bored because I'm like, okay, this isn't done yet. Well, I want to go work on something else. Good old peer pressure, Tasha says. Yes. And I would tell you, when I've worked on quilts with the peer pressure, I'm usually pretty good. I am a little bit behind on Dragon Fruit right now. I got some of the months done, and then there's some of the months that I still haven't finished. Dragon Fruit is one that I am working on with Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches and a few other friends. In fact, we are going to be live on Stephanie's channel this afternoon, sewing up month 8 of it. But yeah, there's still a couple of the previous months that I haven't quite finished yet. I've got like things put together, but they're not put together. And I've been trying to say I need to get these done. I haven't pulled them out, so month 9 is finishing it, so the ish is hitting the fan. So I need to get them completely done. Good morning, Charlotte. How are you today? And I am doing bumbleberry pie with Stephanie as well. And I know there's one month that I did not finish because I cut pieces wrong. It's a Russ problem. And I got frustrated while doing it, so I just stopped and I haven't finished putting it back together. And we need to get that one done. I know Stephanie's been busy with some personal stuff. So I know she's got a little bit that she's got to get put back together. So we're trying to catch up and say, okay, when will we be done so that we can put the last bits together? I'm thinking that's happening in July now. Just because, again, life happens and June's already halfway over. Tasha says, and then when I feel like I have to do it, I rebel and don't want to do anymore. Yes, that is definitely something that happens. That's part of what's been a problem with me trying to get the graduation quilts done. I love the way they look, and I love the fabrics I chose. I just don't like the instruction. And it's too late for me to rewrite the instruction on the graduation quilt, so I'm procrastinating again because I still got two more to make. And saying, I got to get these done, but I'm procrastinating, so I need to get those on my I need to get those done at this point list. No. One at a time, Russ. One at a time. And I see Stream Elements has joined us. Thank you, Stream Elements. I know it's a bot, but I'm still, being polite to the bot because bots will be ruling us one day. I mean, maybe Happy Ending did win Best Musical at the Tonys. And that's a musical about helper bots finding love. That's about all I know because I've only heard like 2 songs of it since my album did not arrive until yesterday. And I haven't had a chance to do my full listen of it yet. These are going to this way. And these are going to go to that way. Good morning, Amy. She's doing one thing at a time, or I'm sorry, she says doing one thing at a time is so hard. Always too many fun things to make. That is the truth. But I am trying to make myself focus on one thing at a time for a little bit so I can get a couple things done. I mean, I did get the email this week that says, or was it last week, that the East Cobb Quilt Show is happening next year. Start planning your ideas. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do have ideas that I want to do. And I have the whole plan of it. I just need to get it started. And by started, I mean design first. I think it's going to be a cool quilt that I put in the show because one of the major rules at a quilt show is no touchy touchy, which I fully appreciate and say, I agree with you, but I'm going to make an interactive quilt. But interactive doesn't mean touchy touchy either. So y'all will have to wait and see next year what I am coming up with. But I think it's going to be a fun quilt. I don't care if I don't win anything. I'm just going to be like, look, you guys have an interactive quilt. Ha 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 ha. Amy says that she has a Bargello that'll probably end up being her submission. I'm halfway pondering putting something in the fair. But it's only halfway pondering because I'm like, I don't want to deal with all that traffic to go drop off a quilt. So these are going to be cut up and pressed that way. And then these are being come together and pressed this way. No, not that way, Russ. This way. I also received the most hilarious picture from my sister's husband, also known as Muffin. And she got everybody calling him Muffin, including his coworkers. And I think it was Thursday night. He grabbed one of the spiders that were hanging around the house and put it on her shoulder and sent me a picture of it on her shoulder. And I'm just like, oh, I want to know what she did. I want to know what she did. But I didn't hear anything from him later. And I was like, maybe she killed him. She did not. I texted her on Friday, yesterday, and with the picture and said, "Did you beat Muffin?" And she goes, "Yup." So at least I know the spiders are having much fun. She's very annoyed because spiders have been showing up around her house, and I'm like, these are normal. And they're the harmless ones. They are. They're called jumping spiders, which makes them sound very terrifying. And I am all there for thinking that sounds terrifying. But they're also harmless. They're little tiny ones. In fact, I would almost wager that they look a lot like the little tiny spiders that, that I hid around her house, the plastic ones. But they're called jumping spiders, and those don't jump. So she's fine. If I was truly evil, I would find a way to send her other spider things, but the plastics ones were just enough. That and the fact that we both got each other spider Christmas or Easter cards. I think that was amusing. So she should have been expecting. And these are being pressed this way. Good morning, Diana, who says it's early there in which I'm assuming she's referencing California and not Canada. Well, very early morning, Diana. Hope you're having a good morning so far. And these are being pressed this way. That's the only close to annoying part. Well, okay, there's two annoying parts because I experienced the other one this morning too. Of the puzzle mystery quilts is you have to press them the way they tell you to press them. And it's not like you're doing mass pressings like if you're doing a traditional quilt where you're making like 12 of the same block or 15 of the same block or whatever. That's not the right direction, Russ. It goes this way, Russ. Because if you're chain piecing a whole bunch, pressing everything in the same direction, you don't really have to think too much. Or if you're in blocks that it just really doesn't matter the way that you press and you just press it the way it wants to go. But with puzzle mystery quilts, in order for things to nest with what it's about to be joined to, you have to press in those directions, otherwise things will not line up. And we are almost done with clue 8. Okay, Streamlabs, you were a little early this time. Don't know why. Not going to complain too much, but you were early. Because you should have been saying that 10 minutes from now. Good morning, Duvraka, who says good morning, Russ, and everyone. Heart emoji, Canadian flag emoji. And one more, and if everybody was sewing with me this clue, you are probably about done too. Or you're just using me as an emotional support human while you're sewing something else, which is perfectly fine as well. I'm told I'm a good emotional support human. And Charlotte says, Stream Elements is an overachiever bot. I think he's heard what happened with Nightbot slacking off, so he's probably just like, okay, I'm going to be very overachieving, be very enthusiastic about my job. And then put you on, so I can take you off. And this is being pressed this way. And like that, clue 8 is done. Even though I know what the finished quilt is going to look like. You gotta say, this kind of looks like a house with a smoke coming out of the chimney. And then we're going to break into clue 9. And while I am sorting clue 9 real quick, I got the funniest comment on my channel this week. Somebody made a comment that the ring light that I have in front of me, plus my glasses, makes me look like Mr. Magoo. And I'm just like, first it's my ceiling fan, now it's my glasses. At some point I will be able to get these fixed, and I'm using fixed loosely. I want to get better light in here. I want to get panel lights, and I'm going to put one over there and one over there, so it doesn't feel too much like a direct ring light. And that should hopefully reduce the glare from the glasses, making me look less like Mr. Magoo. I mean, without my glasses, I am about as blind as Mr. Magoo. Good morning, sweet granny. Which is kind of amusing because, what is it? The chat box just says, wash hands. Kind of amusing. Silly chatbot. And then this goes here. Get things I should have done before the live, but you know, I ran out of time. Okay, so I will do this way, throw you over here. Now I can sew again. This clue, thankfully, is a lot smaller. It's just a few flying geese. And then a couple regular pieces sewn together. Regular pieces, squares. Dubrocket says, Mr. Magoo, that's funny. The more I age, I'm like, okay, yeah, some of his I can't see things make a lot more sense. The antics that he got into, none of those made sense. But that's why it's a cartoon. Didn't they make a live action Mr. Magoo? I feel like they did. And my brain is now saying, you need to know this, Russ. Live action Mr. Magoo. 1997. So it does exist. Who did it star? Leslie Nielsen was Mr. Magoo. it looks like. And I can imagine him playing a hysterical one. Now I may have to decide if I want to buy that movie. I don't think it would be that good. Like, I love Leslie Nielsen as an actor and his antics. I just don't feel like a Mr. Magoo movie would be good. Have any of y'all seen it? Y'all can tell me. We were talking about Leslie Nielsen and something else the other day at work. And I can't remember what it was. Oh, that's what it was. We started talking about. Oh, yeah, that was me again, too. The Spaceballs 2 teaser has come out. It came out Thursday, and we were talking about it, and one of my coworkers was asking about the actors who were in Spaceballs, so I just started listing them off. I was like, John Candy has passed away. Rick Moranis said that he doesn't want to come back to acting, but maybe Mel Brooks was able to convince him. And then I was like, and Daphne Zuniga, I don't know if she's done anything. And he goes, how do you know her name? I don't know, but apparently I know Catherine Bach in my dreams and Daphne Zuniga in my awake. So I am excited about the Spaceballs 2 movie coming out in 2027. I have to wait all the way until 2027 for this. But such is life. But we were talking about, I guess, funny people or something like that, because my coworker thought that Leslie Nielsen was in Spaceballs. And I was like, no, he was just the Naked Gun series. Oh, that's how we got onto it, because the sound effects voice guy, which I've lost his name, was in Spaceballs and he was in Police Academy. So that's how we kind of got in that direction. Something Winslow is his name. Candace had not seen the Mr. Magoo movie. Candace, what's wrong with you? You have children. Which I understand the answer to that is your children are much younger than 1997. I wouldn't have seen it because I was in college in 97. And I did not trust Blockbuster movies in my VCR. Although, when I would have been home from college, or, you know, before college, we enjoyed going to the movies until somebody did not return a movie. Excuse me. On my grandmother's movie city. I don't think it was called movie city. Movie village. It was the, it was Blockbuster without being Blockbuster. But somebody had borrowed a movie under my grandmother's account and didn't return it. I've heard other stories about that, but the short answer is it didn't get returned, and they wanted to charge her $80 to replace the movie. Which I'm like, movies are $20, but on the other hand, I understand that the movie rental place price is higher than $20 because they are paying for a different license from the movie studios for that. But yeah, she basically said, "I'm not paying this," which meant people couldn't use her account anymore, and you had to be a certain age to be able to get an account. And then they were like, "Can we rent under your account, Russ?" And I was like, "I'm not getting an account. I know what you guys can do to this." No. I did get a Blockbuster account in college, though. And I forget what we needed to rent. So my VCR did get a Blockbuster treatment, unfortunately. And then when I moved here, I was dating Josh, and he wanted to rent a movie. And I was like, "Okay, let's go to Blockbuster." I pull out my Blockbuster card, and they were like, "What is this?" I was like, "It's only 5 years old." I think it was 5 years old at the time. And when they scanned it, it had to dial the central server to get my Blockbuster information because, one, I hadn't used the Blockbuster card there, and two, it was so old that even if I did, it would have been offed because, well, if you use it regularly, it wouldn't have been offed, but I think I've only used my Blockbuster card twice in my life. And I can't use it anymore. So we are approaching the top of the hour. I am going to continue to work on this live. I'm not going to leave y'all. But I do understand if y'all have people that you go watch at noon, if you drop off and go see them. That will not hurt any of my feelings. But I'm probably going to run about 5, maybe 10 minutes over. I try to be respectful of people's times. If, like I said, if I hadn't been running behind this morning, I would have been able to get all the pieces separated, and that would have saved about the amount of time that I'm going to be over. Candace won't leave me. Thank you, Candace. Candace, just so you know, I kind of mapped out Shop Hop. And it's a 3-day excursion to make it so that we have enough time in every shop. And I'm also including Threadbare in that shop because even though they are not part of Shop Hop, we would be driving right by them. And I'm like, if we're going to drive right by them, we're going to stop and say hi. Amy is sticking around too, enjoying the entertainment while taking care of her 4-legged children. Although I will say there was one of the shops in Shop Hop that I'm like, there's no parking here. I don't know if I want to go to a place that has no parking. But it's on the list, and if we want to get our passport or whatever they're calling it this year stamped, then we're going to have to go. But I mapped out the itinerary. I may tweak it a little bit more, but I could not get it any faster than 3 days just because it's 10 or 11 shops. So that's already hard enough to do in a few days. Barb is still here finishing a block for Quilts of Valor. That is awesome. And then these are going this way. Good morning, Stephanie. Okay, afternoon. It's now afternoon. Who is asking people to give the video a thumbs up. Thank you for that. Okay, this side. And then this way, right? Yes. I've been trying to enable Stephanie on something and may or may not be working. I will be asking her, right before our live or after our live this afternoon on her channel if I have been able to successfully convince her to be enabled. I know she wants to, because she said she wants to. We just haven't been able to sit down and coordinate the enablement. Sue's hanging around too. Candace says let her know the dates. All I know is I have that very last week of the Shop Hop off. And I have an appointment Tuesday afternoon, which I'm gonna try to get shifted. And then I have an appointment. I believe it's Thursday around lunchtime. So whatever the other days we will do, or we will be able to do. And if we need to make it be a 4-day excursion, we can make it a 4-day excursion. Amy keeps looking at the shop hop, but it's a lot, and some are quite a drive to get to. That is true. And now that I'm thinking about it, we're going to basically be up in Dahlonega area because we're going to Cleveland for shop hop. We might as well stop in the shop that's in Dahlonega because that's basically on the way there. And they have treated us so well during Stephanie's retreats that, we should just go there and be like, okay, we want to buy some more stuff. And switching cameras. This gets pressed this way, I think. Yes. Which kind of surprises me that the Cleveland shop is in Shop Hop, but the Dahlonega shop is not. Kind of rude if you ask me. No. I know some shops have their reasons for not participating. I know some shops have bad reasons for not participating, but I am not going to gossip about a shop. Okay, let's go over the blocks that I have completed. Charlotte says she's still here. She's avoiding getting back to thread painting on her latest quilt. Thread painting is gorgeous. So clue 8 was 4 of these. Like I said, they kind of look like houses, but I know what they are. They're part of the Tree of Life. And then clue 9, let me get, what's the direction that they want to be pointed in the pattern? They want to be pointed like this. Okay. So clue 9 is 4 of these. And through the magic of having done them already, the Juicy Juice version, which I forget what they are, I think it's called Radiance. There were 4 of these for clue 8, and 4 of these for clue 9. So, as I said, I have all of the units together. And then I'm going to show you everything that I have done so far to get things ready. I said I got the center medallions done. So this is the Purple Mist center medallion. And this is the Radiance center medallion. And then I got some of the borders done, so I put a few pieces together for Purple Mist. There we go. I got this portion done, which I think that requires a piece from this clue. That's the same piece. And then this done, which I think this is taking them. And then for the radiance, I have, okay, let go. I have this, which I think is the top and bottom portion that's missing a piece that I just completed. There's this. So that's those. And then I have these, which is going to take the Clue 9s that I just finished to finish those off. I think this goes to the top and bottom. So I have my pile of pieces, and I will be finishing all of these up tomorrow on my sewing shenanigans. It's a live Zoom, only on Zoom, not on YouTube, not anywhere else. So if you want to join, we're starting about 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We will be finishing about 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's come and go as you want. You don't have to be here right at 8:30. You don't have to stay until 3:30. You can, show up at 12:30 and leave at 1 if you wanted to. But it'd be great to have everybody there joining us. Like I said, the link is in the description below, and it's also in the my Wednesday video. And if you're a part of my mailing list, you have already received it. So there's that. On Wednesday is going to be my weekly vlog. I have no idea what I'm working on next Saturday because I'm done with this puzzle mystery quilt. So I got to go and figure that out for next Saturday. And then later this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, I will be joining my friend Stephanie over on her channel as we work on month 8 of Dragonfruit. And that is almost done as well. So there is a lot of stuff finishing up, and we will start to figure out what we'll be starting soon later. So I hope everybody has an awesome rest of your day. Happy weekend, and get some rest if you need it, like I do. Toodles!